Hello and welcome back to another video, and today's a really important one. We're going to talk about teacher burnout and how to prevent that and how to make sure your time is being organized in the right way. And it's something that I've kind of reflected on quite a lot in the last week, and you might have noticed that in the sense that YouTube videos have been a bit slower. So I have missed quite a few YouTube videos in the past week. I probably put out about half as many as I normally would, and that's because I have had to just take a little step back for a week or so and just to make sure that I'm looking after myself, I'm looking after my family, and I'm looking after my work. And those are the three things that always come first before I think about like hobbies and work and YouTube and football cards and whatever else I'm doing at the time. I have to make sure those three things are on top, and if they're not, then I have to think about what can I pull back on. And sadly, for the last week or so, that has been YouTube video, because going back to school always comes with a bit of a shock, and it's always a bit of a hit, and you always have to make sure you're organizing your time the way you want to. And for me, that's meant that actually I've had to take some time out of some other things. So I've taken some time out of filming YouTube videos, and I've not been filming as many as I normally would. And you can see I'm back now and I'm doing one. But one of the reasons that why I had to take some time out was because I wasn't very well. And I always speak to people and say, look, if you're not very well, if you're not feeling like you can't get to school, then take a day off. If you need to recover, it's not about being there for the children or being there for school. It's about being there for yourself. And if that's the right thing, then do it. And I didn't take a day off school. I haven't had a day off yet this year. And I don't plan on taking one anytime soon because I am getting better. But it was because I had to rearrange my time. Think, what things can I take out to make sure I'm recovering and looking after myself? And I knew I wasn't ill enough to take a day off work. I didn't need those days off. But I did need the time in the evening to then relax and, look after myself a bit more. And so that's why I said, right, I'm going to take some time off from filming the YouTube videos. And normally when I'd film one of these either at a weekend or after school one evening, and it's again, it might not seem a lot, but it's another couple of hours of kind of doing work. It's filming, it's editing, it's making sure it's all looking right, it's sorting out all of it on the YouTube channel. And it's doing all that stuff where actually I just needed that time for my brain to relax, to let my body recover, and to focus on myself. And that's something that I'm quite proud that I can say I do. And I think some people don't always do it enough, especially teachers. They don't look after themselves as well as they could. And let me know in the comments if this is something that you do, if this is something where actually you don't take the time out for yourself enough. And if you're the opposite end and you think you do take time out for yourself, let us know what you do. Let other people know in the comments, what do you do to look after yourself? Because teacher burnout is a real thing. And I've only been back at work for 2 weeks now. And I knew if I kept on going with doing all my work at school, with the other bits on the side that I do, kind of side hustling things, with YouTube, with obviously making sure family's having fun and we're doing stuff together, if I kept all of those things going, then I would have to stop at some point and it would all come to a kind of crashing halt because I just wouldn't have the energy in me to keep up with all of it. So that's why I decided to take that break for me. And so the YouTube videos stopped for a week or so. Now, all I've had a bit of a snuffle, I've had a bit of a cold, I've had a bit of a sore throat, that's it. It's nothing been major. You might still be able to hear a bit of it in my voice and in my nose. It still is a little bit there, but it's just about gone. But then there's also other things to consider about, why is that important? Why is it important to have that time out? And it's important because it means this week when we go back to school, obviously the Queen's funeral is on Monday, so we're going back on Tuesday. But when I'm back, I'm going to be able to give my energy fully back in the classroom. If I'd have spent this weekend ploughing on with absolutely everything that I needed to do, then I would be going back to school tired, I'd be going back still not feeling too great, and I wouldn't be able to give my energy to the children. And that's what it's all about. Being a teacher, it is important to take time for yourself. It is important to take time out of class when you need it. But that's because it's important when you're in class to be you, to be 100% you and be the strongest person you can be. And so that doesn't mean that I need to plow on with everything to make sure I'm getting into work, because when I get into work, I'll only be, 50% of me, 75% of my best. And when I'm in the classroom, I need to be at 100% all the time to do the best for the children, to do the best for the teachers that I work with. And that is really important. So that's why I do recommend, look, if you're really unwell, if you're not feeling good, don't plow on just because you feel like you have to. Take that time out for yourself. But if you don't need to take the time out of work, then take the time out of the weekend. Do something that'll relax you. Don't necessarily do all your plans. I'm a big believer in having a busy weekend and getting loads of stuff done. And I've said in so many videos before that that's the type of weekend that I enjoy, where we can get everything done and get sorted nice and early. But you can see that actually that is the case when you're feeling right. This weekend and the last weekend when I haven't felt 100%, I've not done everything that I would normally do. And that's because I've had to take the time out for myself. I had to look at it and say, look, there's things I need to get sorted about myself. I need to get my health right. I need to get my mind right. And so I've taken that time out and I've got it sorted. And that is really important, especially when you've had a stressful week. So the last week of school was a really busy one. It was a bit of a hard week, and there were some things that happened where you think, actually, you know what? I need to take a bit of time out here. and say, look, that has been a really long week, and that's just it, that's it. Another ice cream van. What is it about me filming these videos when the ice cream van turns up? If you saw a couple of videos ago, that was not happening again. Anyway, distracted. Yeah, when you've had a busy week, it does take a toll on you. It takes a toll on you physically, it takes a toll on you emotionally, mentally. It means you need to have that time out, and that's why it's so important to have your weekend. And it's why it's so important to not be working at the weekend. So this long weekend, I've not done one single bit of work. I had my PPA on Friday, which meant I came home, got all my planning done in my PPA time, and so I've been able to put my laptop away, put my iPad down, and just enjoy my weekend with my family. And that has been so important, again, to make sure I am recovering, that I'm not sat here thinking, oh, I need to get that done for maths on Monday, that done for writing on Tuesday. I've been completely sorted. So a fantastic example of looking after ourselves, and my wife has just come out with a cup of coffee for me, and that it's just that type of thing. It's saying, look, you know what, if you need to take a step back, do it. If you need to have a weekend off, do it. And make sure you plan things in advance. Make sure you're looking forward to the future. My wife recently at school has been putting quite a few hours in just to make sure she gets stuff done at school and doesn't have to bring things home. And her head teacher recently said to her, you need to guarantee yourself, or guarantee me, that you are going to have at least one night a week where you are leaving early. And so they had a discussion about what night a week that would be best, what would work best. And then it came round to that night, I think it was possibly a Friday, though I can't remember the day exactly. And the head teacher actually came round and shooed her out the school, and she walked into the classroom, saw she was still there, and chased her out the door pretty much. And it's really important that schools have that idea too. Schools have that aspect of looking after the teachers and looking after yourselves, and that doesn't mean that you are putting in 100 hours a day. That doesn't mean you're staying at school till 6 o'clock at night every day. That means looking after yourself in terms of having a day a week where you can leave school and go and enjoy your afternoon. Leaving school by 3:30 is brilliant, because all of a sudden you realise that you have all this time ahead of you, and that's not something I do very often nowadays. Last year, when my wife was still on maternity, I'd make sure I would leave by then pretty much every single day. This year, obviously, I'm starting working a lot later in the morning, so I am staying till more like 4:30, but that's kind of my limit at the minute, 4:30, maybe 5 o'clock, and then I'm making sure I'm getting out of school and enjoying what rest of my evening I have. But hopefully, as we go forward, I can get and make sure that on Fridays I can finish work at 3 on my PPA and then enjoy the rest of my afternoon on that day. So that's one day where I will be finishing at 3 every single day. But yeah, it's just about looking after yourself and looking forward. And if you need to take the time out, guys, please do it. There's nothing worse than looking, and you see so many teachers do this, where they come into the profession, new teachers, and that's why we have so many teachers leaving after like 2 or 3 years, because they go into schools where schools don't have that focus on positivity and don't have that focus on mental health and looking after each other, and they just have a focus on making sure what they're doing is right for Ofsted, and that's it. And the workload that is put on teachers sometimes is absolutely huge. So when you are looking for a school, if you're looking at this before you get into teaching, then make sure you're talking to schools about what their outlook is for teachers, how they look after the teachers, what do they type of things they do. One very simple thing that my school does is each year we get a wellbeing day, and that just means that we cover that wellbeing day in school. So we make sure that someone in school can cover our lessons, like HLTA or something like that, but we then be able to have one day a year where we can have it out of class and we can stay at home and just have some wellbeing time. And we've had that since COVID started, was when it was first brought in. So this is the 3rd school year we're going to have it. And it might sound little, it might sound something small, just one day, but actually it's something that is really treasured at my school, because we do have that chance then to maybe have a long weekend if you can get it on a Monday or a Friday, or have a day off for a child's birthday if they're still at home, or that kind of thing, where I've not worked out where I'm going to use it yet myself this year, but hopefully I'll be able to use it later on in the year and have some really nice time where I can look after myself and do something that I want to do that day. So as always, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully you are looking after yourselves, and like I said at the start, if you do, and you do a really good job of getting out of school and enjoying yourself and looking after your own mental health and well-being, please do put some comments in the chat down below about where it is and what it is you do to make sure you look after that. And if you're someone that struggles, do let other people know that actually it's something you're going to work on, because I think people need reassurance that they're not the only one out there, and there's so many teachers out there that do struggle with their well-being and with their workload. So do let us know in the comments how you are doing, and I will try and reply to all the comments I can, but as always, other people do reply to comments too, so hopefully we'll get a nice little conversation going down there about teachers, about their mental health, about their well-being, and how to stop that burnout. And as always, there's a new video on a Tuesday, a Friday and a Sunday, so I'll see you then, and hopefully these videos will start coming out on time a bit more regularly now we're back into work, back into the schedule, and I'm feeling a bit better again. So I'll see you very soon.